Hi, good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's parenting session here on First Try with me. I am Dimple Mehta, and I am a mindfulness and happiness coach and a parenting expert. And so happy to be here. It's a lovely day outside, and I hope that the session also goes well. And do share this session with your friends and family members if you find it fruitful. Looking forward to answering your queries at the end of the session, and just waiting for all of you to join in so that we can start. Today, as you all know, the topic is how we can raise confident and happy children. It's a very important question every parent keep thinking about. Let's hope that my session helps you be a little mindful about it. So I think we are good to go. I would like to begin the session by telling you a bit about it. As I told you, I am a parenting and mindfulness happiness expert. I work with a brand called Soul Diets, and we are into the space of mindfulness and happiness. We work with children, parents, teachers, corporates, and individual for the same. And today, this session is going to put more light onto how we are going to raise confident and happy children. All right, so let's begin the session. Voila. So to start the session, let's understand what confidence means to a child. A confidence is our belief in ourselves, how that we are in control of our body and our mind, and the definition remains same for a child as well. So a child, when in confident about himself or herself, is well connected with his body and mind, and it helps the child to connect with the world outside way better. All right. And the benefits of a confident child, raising a confident child, is endless. You can actually tell by the body language of a child when the child is feeling comfortable within his own skin, he's at home within his own skin about himself. The child is very peacefully connected to people around him, to the world around him, to at school, at home. So confident add volumes to a child's personality, and that is why it is a must. It is absolutely essential for any child's growth. All right. So since we have understood what confidence means, now let's understand that how we can actually correlate happiness and confidence in children. There are many studies which have shown that happiness and confidence go hand in hand. When you see happy child, you will see that the child is very, very comfortable in sharing maybe his or her toys, books, food, or anything else. The child is very, very acceptable to his own mistakes. The child won't lie. All right, if he's doing something, trying something new, and he's confident, he's very happy, absolutely in game to come to the parents and say, while I was trying something, this did not it is not working for me, or it did not turn out to be the way I was thinking it would be. So a confident child is very comfortable in the way he or she face the world. And when you are confident facing the world or the people around you, you are happy, right? End of the day, you feel stressed when you are disconnected somewhere. We all feel stressed when we are disconnected at home or at office or at school. For a child, if a child is confident, he is going to perfectly connect with parents or grandparents or children around him. And the child who is very happy is a great learner. The child who is very confident is a great learner, or he or she will never shy away in going for a competition or trying to do something new he or she has never tried. He's very fast at picking up things, learning things, because he's confident within. So confidence and happiness go hand in hand. Then a happy child or a confident child is very comfortable at school, especially parents who are looking for, putting their children into kindergarten or class 1 or class 2. They at times, come to me and consult me that, child is not getting adjusted at all at school. He's finding it very difficult to, adjust, weaning, making excuses every morning to, go to school and things like that, because somewhere the child is disconnected with you or at school or with his teachers, because somewhere he's disconnected within. He's not confident within. He's not happy, he's not looking forward to going out and meeting people or going to school and things like that. So you have to help your child gain and groom that confidence so that he's happy and then happily connected to the world outside. Now, since we have now talking about the confidence, let's understand a few things that go in building a confident child. A confident child, the sign of a confident child is that the child is very comfortable in expressing himself. Even if the child is very young and the vocabulary is not yet developed, he will show you the signs that he's been able to tell you that this is comfortable, this is uncomfortable, I like something like this, I don't like something like this. So he is very, very comfortable in expressing. On the other hand, contrary, the child who lacks confidence are very difficult. With great difficulty they express themselves. They are not very comfortable, they are not very exactly confident about themselves. They feel that they are going to get judged, and these are the children who don't ask questions in the class later. They don't go into that section of critical thinking, which is, again, I am saying that very, very important for the overall growth, especially the mental growth of a child. So you have to be very cautious. Then their connection with everyone around them will gradually improve. As the child is growing, so is the confidence in him, it will improve. Now, since we have talked about the confidence and the benefit of confidence in a child, I want to talk about now why we have this session, the ways that we are going to build and groom confidence in a child from a very young age. I mean, you can say from birth. A child is very expressive. If the child is uncomfortable or hungry and he has zero vocabulary, he can't speak, he will make sure that he's conveying his message. The child who is hungry or uncomfortable will start weaning or crying louder to tell you that that I need attention. So the first thing in building confidence is, how mindful are you to these signals? You have to be very, very mindful, very, very mindful when your child is calling you, when he needs that comfort. That is how that the child gets the confidence that my parent is there for me. For a child, the parents are the prime source of confidence. You are the family, you are the village of confidence. From you, the child will see, through you, the child will see the world. So you have to be very, very mindful about listening to their cries right from the birth. Then when you want to develop a confident child, there are two ways. One, through your behavior and your body language when you are with the child, and two, I'm going to tell you some fun activities when you can do with young children, because I'm also a theater teacher, and we do a lot of mindfulness drama with young children. And believe me, drama and these activities help a child gain a lot of confidence. We run these workshops where we see a tremendous change in a child, from a shy child, how they develop confidence through these theater drama activities. And we see that confidence coming through their eyes and their speech and their body and their poiseness. So let's talk about the first element of building the confidence in your child through your behavior. Now, when I talk about your behavior, you must be wondering, as parents, we are very connected to our children. We are these days, parents are very vigilant, very conscious about the way they are raising the child. There's nothing wrong in your parenting. You all are great parents, and every parent has only one thing in mind: how we can provide the best child, how we can provide the best things to have a comfortable childhood to our children. And they all want to raise happy children. That's the final motto. But yes, somewhere your behavior, subconsciously or unconsciously, play a role in disconnecting the child's confidence, or the lack of confidence the child has in him. So first of all, that you have to be very, very cautious about listening. You have to be very mindful about the listening when your child needs you. The child will start gaining confidence when the child knows that he or she is worthy enough. He is needed in the house. For that, you have to be connected. You have to listen, and listen carefully when your child needs you, when he needs a warm hug, when he needs a cuddle, when your child needs, soothing from you, when your child needs your undivided attention. And when a child knows that you're around, he's very confident about himself, about his family. He's very confident. And when he's confident, he's at peace. So make sure that you're listening to your child. Then you can actually use phrases which develop confidence in him. So you can use sentences like, rather than using, oh, don't do that, you're going to hurt yourself, don't try that, that's too difficult for you. Things which are starting with don't, keep in mind, are hindering a child's confidence, child's self-esteem, his self-efficacy. Everything is getting affected when you're beginning your sentences with don't, because the child blindly trusts your words. For him, you are his vocabulary, right? If words like don't, never, you can't will exist, he or she somewhere will start believing in it and stop trying these things. So instead of using words like don't do this is not good for you, you will hurt yourself, just mend them by, you want to try it, but I feel today is not the right time. You want to touch it, don't you feel it's very hot? Don't you feel that you might get hurt? So be suggestive rather than being authoritative or judgmental. I know you're not doing it consciously, but we all try to keep them safe in order to keep them protected. Use these sentences, and somewhere the child loses the confidence. Then second thing which I want you to be mindful about is the way you make your child feel. Sometimes we encourage them, but we encourage them for wrong things also. Sometimes I've seen parents are too much into going ahead and telling the child, oh, try this and try that. It has to be age appropriate. Not just because you want to raise confident children that you kind of be there and encouraging them for everything. Be very, very vigilant, be very mindful about, it has to be age appropriate, it has to be right and safe for the child. So you have to balance it. What is there in a child that you should encourage? I have seen young parents encouraging their children and flaunting that the child is so good at using a tab or a laptop or a mobile. She's not even 2, but she's so good with opening any application and playing a poem for herself. Let me tell you, this is not adding to a child's confidence. You're not helping the child to be confident. The child might grow overconfident and in a wrong manner. So be mindful about what you're encouraging in a child. Later, these parents face a problem that the child is too connected to technology, too connected to gadgets, and too glued to it. But then it's not child's fault. It is your and mine fault. So be very cautious about where you are encouraging your children. Then I face another problem that parents come to me and tell me that my child is very messy a learner. They create too much of mess, especially people who have young children at home, and these lockdown times when we don't have help at home, and we have to do loads of cleaning and wiping and whatever the mess is there for us. I agree, it's messy, it's especially during the lockdown, too overwhelming, but we have to do it. The way a child learns anything in life is through a formula of 3 E's, what we call. They, they explore, they experience, and later they express. I'll just tell you briefly about the 3 E's. So while they are exploring, you see young children. Yeah, they are super excited, super excited about everything what is going around them. They find a plug, they find a chair, they want to climb onto it. They don't care whether they fall down. They see water bottle, they want to spill the water. If you are in the kitchen, they want to do chopping. They will touch the knife, they will touch the ketchup, they spill the ketchup, and the jam is all over the place. Gosh, it's a nightmare. But believe you me that this is the best thing you can do to your child. Let them explore. It is their life, it is their journey. They are going to explore things their way. And sometimes I tell the best suggestion to any parent is go back to your childhood. Think about when you were young, you were in their age, you used to be messier than them. These days we have the comfort of tying a bib around their neck and giving them an apron and all. You and me were not raised like that. We were raw. We would give a tough time to our mothers cleaning, washing those clothes. But that is how we have all learned that the grass is green and it is soft and it has dew on it, that it's nice to play in mud. It is lovely, it is awesome to go out in the rain and get wet and dance and splash. That is childhood. So let them explore. Even that means that it's a huge mess for you to clean later, let it be. Then they are going to experience. You will see if your child is playing with something, he or she would come to you and say, Mama, I touched it and you see I can squeeze it. I can actually squeeze a lemon and take out lemon juice from it. For you it's a routine thing, but for child it's a whole new experience. Mama, I took out butter and I'm trying to spread it and I could spread it in one stroke. For you it's a routine. For them it's a whole new experience. Mama, I was looking through the window and I saw this huge green tree. Again, for you, it's a normal routine thing. For them, it's a beautiful experience. So, please don't take away these moments from your child. They add to his confidence. A child gains confidence by experiencing, I'm not saying, don't be protective, don't be around them. Of course. Be watchful, be around them, protect them, but just don't stop them. Just let them experience the world their way, and they'll be very comfortable in settling down, around their surroundings. Just be around them. And the third thing, whatever they have explored and experienced so far, they are going to express it beautifully, because they have not mugged up your experience. If you tell a child that this is very spicy, that's a different thing. Next time when a child is offered the same thing, the child might say, oh no, my mama told me it's very spicy, I don't want to try it. But if the child has tried it once and that same thing is offered to the child is going to express beautifully saying, I tried it once, man, it's spicy, I don't want to try it, it's not my kind of dish. So it's his experience. He's not looking at the world through your eyes. He's confident that the dish is spicy enough for him. Not that that dish was spicy for you. He doesn't know the flavor because you never let him experience and explore. So in order to raise a confident child, it's very, very essential that let them explore, experience, and express. And when I'm saying expressing, I want to, I want you to focus on one thing. When you have young children, you have toddlers or younger than them, very young children at home, their vocabulary is not developed yet. They don't know how to express themselves. And that is one reason why they are so cranky at times. They are very angry. They throw things all over the place. They don't want to talk. They bang their head on the sofa and they cry. And we have no clue. We have no clue why is that all happening. The reason is they don't know how to express. They don't know the right words which will connect with their emotions. So what should you do? You have to become the voice of their expressions. You have to express their feelings for them through your words. So, for example, if a child is playing with blocks and you see that the child is not able to balance the block, you will see after 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes how patient the child is. After 10 minutes, if it's still not happening, you will see the child is, very irritated. You will see the expressions changing on the face. And God forbid, in some children, they start throwing the blocks. I don't want to play, they kind of give that sign out that, I don't want to play, and they kind of hush it all, that, they create this ruckus at home. What should you do? Rather than telling, what are you doing? You don't know how to play with blocks. You just try and don't do that. Don't do that. Your child already knows that this is not the right way to play, but then he's not able to. He needs help. So what should you do? Just go, sit calmly with your child and say, oh, you are trying to build blocks. I can see that. Wonderful. Wow. And while we are trying to build the blocks are falling here and there. Happens. So what should we do? Should we see what is the problem? Okay. Oh, should we see the surface underneath the blocks? It's kind of uneven. Should we take the blocks and go into the next room where the surface is flat? Should we do that? And with your child, take the blocks and go into the next room, and there sit with the child and say, let's try building the blocks here. That is what you wanted to do. That is what you wanted to tell me. And help your child build the block on a plain surface. And then tell your child, wow, we never knew it was this easy, isn't it? It was this easy to build the blocks. Oh, this is what you were trying to tell me. This is what you were trying to express. Next time, when you have a problem, we are going to solve it. And you are going to praise the child. Most importantly, a child seeks first approval in his life from his parents. A wow coming from you, a clap coming from you, a hug from you means the world to your child. Never fail to appreciate. When I'm talking of appreciation, there are two things which I want to tell you. One is that you have to tell your child that the child just solved a problem by building blocks. He was facing a problem, but he solved it himself. It gives the confidence to the child that I am a problem solver. I am a problem solver. I did it for myself. I can solve a problem. Okay. And then you're going to appreciate a child verbally and physically. So you're going to say, wow, I can see you solving it yourself. You're a big boy. I appreciate it. Okay. And then give your child a tight hug. Give them tons of kisses. And secondly, the thing I want you all to keep in mind, that don't indulge into materialistic recognition. I have so many parents coming to my sessions that now they are facing a problem that the child won't do unless and until the child is getting some materialistic reward. So the child is not even performing at school, not even completing his homework later in life, and the child is again not at fault. You and me are at fault. Don't make the child get into a habit of doing something and then materialistic getting rewarded for it. That's a wrong way. That's a wrong way to build confidence. So you are going to praise, but you're going to praise through clapping, verbally telling them that you're a star, whole family on the dining table going to say that, wow, today he built the entire blocks himself and he's a problem solver. And that is how you are reassuring, you are, pumping tons of confidence and, self-love and self-efficacy into a child. So please avoid materialistic appreciation and rewards. I'm not much in favor of it. Now, let's talk about the fun activities you can do with your young children to, help them boost their confidence and grow confidently. Okay, so you can do very small things, but children are very interested in it. So if even you have young children at home, you can prepare a kind of quiz for them, and wherein you can write simple questions like you can play a game called thumbs up and thumbs down. We play generally this game in our toddler section, and where we ask them, they can't read, of course, they are too young to do it, so tell them that the first question says that should you be touching electrical switches at home? Do you think it is safe or not? Thumbs up, thumbs down. So somewhere the child is getting aware subconsciously that I'm not supposed to touch. And if it's a wrong answer, just tell them that what are going to be the consequences of it. They might get shocked, they might hurt themselves, and next time you'll see a thumbs up. Questions like, if you are at home and a stranger is ringing the doorbell, should you ask mama, papa, or should you directly go and open the door? Should you directly open the door without asking? Thumbs up or thumbs down? You have the answer in front of you, and the child is gaining confidence through these understanding. The more the child understands and educate himself or herself, the more confident the child is. So this is one game which you can play. The other activity which you can do is, there are parents who have young children at home, and they have curious minds all over them, and these young curious minds have tons of questions inside their head. Why this is like this, why that is like that, why this is not happening this way, why this is happening that way, so on and so forth. Questions you have not even imagined in your wildest dream can come to you. So what should you do? Simple. At times you keep answering, you keep replying, you keep satisfying their questions, their needs, their hunger to know more, which is great. But at times you are like during lockdown especially, you are on a con call, or you're busy with your kitchen work or your personal or official work or something like that, and at times it is very overwhelming. So what should we do? Either we hush the question, we ask the child, no, don't ask me right now, I'm not in the right mind frame, or we give not so satisfactory answer just to kill that question for that moment. Both ways it's wrong. It's wrong. So either the child will get into a habit of not asking you anything, all right, and I've seen some parents going to an extent where if the child is asking something, they simply ask the same question to Siri and give the screen to the child. That's your answer, go watch a YouTube video. Don't do that. Don't do that. Siri can never replace a parent. The child needs you. He does not need the gadget. And if you are compensating yourself with a gadget, then later don't regret it. All right. So what you can do, we call it 20 curious minute, and it's again a dedicated time with your child in a day, where you give your child 5 questions or 3 questions or 10 questions depending on your choice, and ask them that they have to club the entire question bank throughout the day, and they have to every day ask you 3 questions or 4 questions in those curious 20 minutes, and you have to give unbiased attention during those 20 minutes. You have to stick to what they're asking you, and then give them a satisfactory answer. Give them, satisfy their hunger, so that they know that this is how you communicate. They feel confident, they get into that zone of critical thinking where they know, they ask, and you are satisfying their urge of asking. Tomorrow these children will be very confident during their class or quiz, asking about anything, because they are not being hushed at home. So they grow up to be a very confident child later. Then most of all, above all, is your unbiased time. When you are connected to your child honestly, a child can feel it, a child can see it. So you have to give that absolutely undivided attention to children while you are with them. I keep suggesting family time, and I seriously believe that family time is the medicine for every problem related to parenting. Family time can do wonders, but you need to understand what family time means. If family time means watching a movie together, then you're giving away that time to your favorite actor. You're not giving away that time to your child. Family time means no gadgets. It's you, your children, your spouse, maybe grandparents, maybe uncles and aunties. Family time means spending time with family and spending quality time with family, playing a game, cooking a meal, anything. And one activity which is very close to my heart with young children, tasks which are small for you and me, like pouring a glass of water, maybe keeping a plate back into the kitchen, or closing a cookie jar, seems nothing to you and me, are Herculean tasks for young children. Ask them to do it themselves. Let them go wrong. Let them find it difficult. 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, and when the fourth day the child is able to close a cookie jar by himself, he's so confident. And don't fail to praise that. Wow, now you can actually close a cookie jar. Cookies are saved. You just saved a jar of cookies. Okay, and this is so much fun. So find out which are these small activities. You can just ask the child to keep a t-shirt at some place or a plate back into the kitchen and things like that. These fun activities will help gradually a child gain confidence. And end of the day, it is, I told you, it is your love, it is your attention which is going to keep the child glued, confident and happy. Thank you so much. I believe that this session will put some light to your parenting queries around the confidence in a child. Now I'm open to take questions, and I have so many questions coming to me. I would start with okay, so I have the question in front of me which says, the child can only be confident when the parents are. Is it okay for the child to know when the parents are scared or not confident? All right, it's a very interesting question and a very viable point there. It's okay to be scared about something, but you have to be very, very mindful about not passing your scares to your children. All right, you may be scared of heights, but when you tell your child that, oh my God, we are going for trekking and I'm very scared of child. Have you seen the hills? They're very scary. So subconsciously you passed on your scare, your fear to your child. Okay, if again the same thing, it is their life, their scares, their likes, their dislikes. You may be insecure or scared or less confident about something. Your child may be completely confident about the easiest, most relatable example is, I see so many parents so scared of going on to these roller coasters and rides in amusement parks, but on the other hand I see young children, they are nowhere near fear or scare riding onto these rides. They are so confident, they want to have the thrill and the time of their life. So it's all right if you're scared, but do not pass that scare to your child. So don't I was talking to a friend. I just want to quote an example. I was talking to a friend, and her husband told me that that the child was never scared of lizards at home. He was very comfortable if there is a lizard on the wall. And one day he saw his mother, scaring and screaming on top of her lungs that, oh, there is a lizard at home and I'm so scared of lizards, oh, they give me jitters and all. And the very next day, the child started shouting and screaming whenever the child would spot a lizard. But whose scare is that? Not the child's, the mother's. So this is why I'm telling you, you have to be very mindful about whether you're passing your scares or not. You are scared about something, let it be in you. Don't pass it on to the child. I hope I answered that question. Okay, is there any other question? Okay, I have another question with me where somebody has asked me that, is my child is very young. Is it okay if I try these activities with him? Yes, they are fun activities, they are simple activities, they are harmless activities. Even if the child is a year old, year and a half old, fine, you can try them. It's absolutely fine. They find it, absolutely fun doing these activities. Next question is again about the mess I was talking about. My child loves to play in mud. but I don't find it very safe and I stop my child from playing in the mud. Is it okay? Unfortunately, it's not okay. Mud is so much fun. You know, if you travel abroad, they have these mud pits. The mud can do wonders in the growth of a child. The child is so connected to Mother Earth. The child loves to play in the mud. Even you. I mean, it's raining. You don't have slippers on. You are just walking bare feet. When we go to the beach, what do? We enjoy that, that comfort underneath our feet. So it is not okay if you're not letting your child play in the mud, unfortunately. Please let the child be and let them have fun. It's just a pair of clothes. What you can do is you can keep one set, okay? Dedicated one set, and dress your child up in that gunji or shorts or a t-shirt and just let him be. Just tell him to, go and play and have fun and come back. Because I'll tell you one very important thing. If you see children messing around the house the entire day, all right, if you see that there is mess everywhere, they're cutting, they're making the house dirty, it's fine. You can crack a deal with your child. Okay, you can tell them that if you don't mess around, I'm going to give you me time. Me time means I'm going to give you a dedicated corner and I'm going to give you all what you need. It's mud, it's dough, it's clay, it's colors, vegetables, utensils, and you can be as messy as possible. That way you are ensuring that the child is, having the fun his way and you're keeping the house clean. So that is one thing that you can do. How we have the break time during the school hours, that kind of pattern you can adopt. So you can tell your child, no, it's not valid that you're messing everything around. So what we'll do, we'll have me time for an hour and this is your corner, and give a new thing every day. Let the child be. And when the child knows that you're being honest in your commitment and you are letting him play for that 1 hour the way he or she wants to play, believe me, they are going to fall in that pattern. So I think, okay, I have another question, on which I had my YouTube video also well received last week, and it is about how to make your child stand against a bully or an intimidating kid. Okay, so okay, so I have another question. I'll take that later. So talking about bully, very, very important. And again, it affects a child's mental health greatly. So for that, the first thing which I told you, you have to be very, very vigilant, very, very mindful about how your child gives you signal. A child may not be very confident, because generally what these bullies do, they subconsciously threaten you that if you're going to share this with your parent, things will not go right for you. All right, so the child may not open up and not come to you directly and tell you that I'm being bullied, but then you have to consciously look out for signs. If the child is disconnected, missing his routines, kind of unnecessary, out of his nature, irritated or sad or crying, which is unnatural, then you have to get into a talk, a very hearty talk. Otherwise also, make it a pattern when your child is going out or going to school. Young children, have a conversation 10 minutes every day. How was the school? Who is the new friend you made? How is your new friend? What kind of talks do you do? What all questions do you ask each other? Do you share food? Does he let you play? Do you let him play? And you will get to know that the child is getting bullied or not. And the second part of it, how to face it. First, you are going to tell your child that we all are equal, all right? And he is no less. Again, confidence is playing his role. If the child is confident, he is going to raise his voice. He is going to be very, very comfortable in going to a teacher and telling that, I am not liking the way he or she just pushed me. I am not liking that he takes away my notebooks. And if the child is not confident, if the child is not heard at home or at school, the child might get bullied again and again. Look out for signs, be vigilant, be mindful. If your child is telling you that he's uncomfortable about something, don't just hush it by saying, you have a problem everywhere. No, you have to get into the root cause of the problem. and be very, very conscious that you will hear the story from both the ends. Children have this awesome creativity that they create, four things out of one. So please be mindful about listening to both the parties and then coming on to a conclusion. And if the child is getting bullied, please help them to come out of it. The second question, which is okay, saying no every time impacts a child's growth or confidence. Yes, it does. As I just mentioned when we started the session, that don't do this, you can't do this, you can never be there, don't apply for that competition, don't go, don't compete, it is not the nature of your kind of sport. You killed the confidence in a child. This is the most brutal thing you can do to your child. You've taken away that opportunity that the child might have used in building that confidence. So do not use such words. Be very positive about how your child is asking for your permission and your approval subconsciously, and be there with a positive mindset to help the child grow in a positive way. Don't use such words. Okay, and I think I answered all the queries which are coming my way. Let me just see if there is anything else I need to answer. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think we are more or less done here. Thank you so much for taking out time, and for more informative videos on parenting, do go on to our YouTube channel, which is Soul Diets at Dimple, and the videos will be of some help to you in finding solution to your parenting problems. Okay, if you have any more doubts, I'm still here waiting for you all. Please ask if you have anything else in your mind. Okay. Okay, so I have another question before I end the session. I would like to take this up. I have a mother asking me that, I give approval in everything my child is asking for. Is it okay? I think I took it up in my session that you have to create a balance with the kind of approvals you are giving to your children, all right? You have to be a little mindful about what you are allowing them, what you are praising them for, and how you are praising them. So if your child is, keeping an unnecessary demand or which is not appropriate, and you're going ahead with that demand just to keeping in mind that you are helping the child build confidence, I'm sorry, you're going wrong. So you have to create that balance somewhere to be connected to the children, boosting their confidence, but at the same time creating that discipline, that decorum every child needs. All right. Okay. Okay, I have another question asking about theater. Yes, I'm also a mother interested in putting my toddler into drama classes. Yes, being a theater drama teacher, I am in complete favor of raising your children and engaging them into drama and theater. We do run these workshops, and drama because includes a lot of role modeling. Child gets to play different role. They go into the skin of how people think, how different situations are. Help a child develop a lot of confidence within. So yes, drama plays an important role, and you can learn more about it. You can go and check out our Instagram page. We are on LinkedIn and Twitter. So yes, it is a valid question, and it plays an important role. It plays a very important role. I think more or less we are done here. Thank you so much for being with me and throwing these questions at me. I loved answering them, and I hope this session was fruitful to you. Thank you so much for being such lovely audience and messaging me. I have loads of messages coming my way. Thank you so much. I hope to see you all and getting connected to you all again. Have a lovely evening. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.